Hi guys, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well. We are going to talk a little bit today about one of the bigger questions right now existing in the fishing community today, especially in our region, and that is dam fishing. Should tournament directors come together in a unified front and make a determination regarding dam fishing? Meaning, should anglers participating in kayak fishing events, for example, be able to fish dams? A lot of issues have come up in the last 2 months. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. If you guys are interested in watching some of those videos, they're on the channel. Appreciate the 8,000 or so people that tuned in to TikTok Live, discussing those things that have happened since August in the community, which are crazy. But one of the root things of all of that has been dam fishing, okay? And so whether or not tournament directors should allow dam fishing. So what is dam fishing, right? Is it fishing right up at the spill, right up at the boil, right up at the dam? Is it fishing 1,000 yards, 2,000 yards below a dam? Obviously, let's talk about what a dam is. Like what a dam is, the differences in the kinds of dams there are. Should all dams be banned, or spillways, causeways, fish passage areas typically are regulated by states. Oftentimes they're not mentioned in tournaments, but tournaments have that back end where it states all local and state laws and regulations must be filed, right? So they don't specifically speak to certain things. They let the state laws cover it, all right? But we all know anglers live in the gray, okay? Professional anglers live in the gray. Amateur anglers competing in kayak tournaments live in the gray. We've seen that over the years going all the way back from KBF. And now a lot of those guys from back in the day are now OGs, right? They're now running events. They're now running tournaments. Here's some examples. Drew Gregory runs the Kayak Adventure Series. Gene Jensen runs the Teen Kayak Series. Okay? Both on Tourney X. That's just two examples of anglers who've won money in kayak fishing, kayak bass fishing especially, who are now running tournaments. Okay? Their trajectory has evolved. Okay? Drew Gregory and Gene still compete in tournaments. Okay? Both of them have been disqualified from events. Okay? Two of the most dominant and prominent kayak anglers and kayak fishing have both been DQ'd from events. Most people didn't know that. Okay? This DQs happen for any number of reasons in events. The dam fishing thing has only come to a focal point, crystallized, not because of dam fishing, guys. And I want to keep this real, okay? It really wasn't because of dam fishing, okay? But it is an important topic that we have to discuss because it keeps coming up. It was more about who the anglers were than where they were fishing, and that's just the truth, okay? And how you know that is just go back in history, okay? You know, I've been kind of in this for a while with content, okay? Some people like it, some people hate it. Some people like to have a third party who's not competing in events to be kind of a third like observer. I'm not vested in the community like a lot of people are. I'm going to call balls and strikes. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people. But I don't care. Because usually those people who don't like it have something. Okay? There's something. And that's what's been borne out with a lot of this. Because some of the very people on social media that are so adamantly now like went after some people in the last 2 months in a recent event that happened last weekend where an individual was just, fishing at a dam, legally fishing at a dam like everybody does on the river this time of year. Matter of fact, just throwing this out there, was just up at Dam 4 on the Upper Potomac this week. There was nine guys. There was 9 guys fishing the dam on the Upper Potomac. which has been down to like about 2 feet. There was just a major event happened on the Upper Potomac, and it probably would have become an issue, but it was out of bounds. The Dam 4 and Dam 5 were not in bounds for the events that took place on the Upper Potomac this last weekend. But they were in bounds for the Susquehanna Fishing Tackles $10,000 Kayak Classic, okay, which they're always in bounds. They're almost always, they're never off limits. I can't find a tournament and where they were off limits. But whether Harrisburg, whether up at Sunbury, the Faber Dam, all these things. There's Hummel. There's a bunch of dams. Susquehanna's got a lot. Okay. I said this before. Like, don't come to the James River. I mean, if you got a problem with dam fishing events, because there's like 9 dams on the James River. But I want to point this out. Some of these people that are, kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but just being on Facebook in a really surreal way when you're someone like me, because you read the comments and you're like, wait, that guy won a check at the dam. Wait, that guy fished. Wait, what? Like, let me make this abundantly clear, okay? Over the course of the last 5-7 years, multiple people have gotten a check cut from Bassmaster fishing at a dam. Multiple people have gotten checks cut from Hobie, Bass Open Series on the Susquehanna, fishing a dam. One individual won an event, okay, fishing at a dam, okay, in those event series. And nobody said anything. Nobody had a problem with it. But suddenly in the last 2 months, because guys, I'm not really sure that the dam is the issue. They want to make the dam the issue. But I think it's the anglers. I think this is nothing more than a localized tribal issue that is blown up now. And maybe I've contributed to that, and that's regrettable if that's really the case. But if the case is to call into question whether or not we should be allowing, as a tournament director, we should be allowing anglers to fish at dams is a valid question. So, and there are differences in dams. There are low dams. There are Z dams. There are gated dams that open up and let water come in, right? There are dams like the Faber Dam and other dams on the Susquehanna where the water just runs over. There's no gate. It's not regulated. The water flow is based on gravity, okay, and current flow. It's not based on it being dammed up and then released, okay? Think Leesville Dam on the Stanton River, right? It basically keeps all the water in Leesville Lake until they need to lower the lake. And then every hour on the hour, they freaking let water come down the Stanton River all the way down to Carr, okay? That's what happened. That's what a lot of the dams on the James River are. So you hear the horn blow, and you know that the gates are going to open. Susquehanna's a little different, okay? And dams offer targeted fishing opportunities. They always have, especially in the fall, after August, okay? As smallmouth especially begin a change in their behavioral patterns, okay? They do offer anglers access to a concentrated fish population, generally speaking. That is true. So that is an argument, if anglers want to make that argument as to why it should be off limits. But from the tournament side of it, you have to remember, tournaments also want a lot of catches. Okay? Major tournaments want a lot of catches. They don't want an event where, half the field doesn't catch a limit, or the majority of people don't catch a limit. Or, guys, just be honest when we have this discussion. If somebody wins an event with like 82 inches, people are all like, oh, that wasn't a good event. It may have been a great event. But the perception is that century mark, 100 inches. Like, that's the perception, of what a great event is. Couldn't be further from the truth. And if you think that's what makes a great event, because I've seen plenty of events where a guy got 98 inches, but everybody else in the field sucked it. Okay? Was that a great event? Sure, for the guy who got 98 inches. But was that a great event for everybody else? No. And so sometimes people look at the maximum length of 100 being like, okay, but that doesn't define what an event is. Now, a dam certainly can help, okay, increase catch rates overall in a tournament. And a tournament director has to make that determination of value. But right now, so much angst has come from dam fishing, it really, really makes you wonder, like, is it worth that? Because a lot of it's not confined to the event, okay? A tournament director will make that determination based on fish location, submission, fishing too close to a dam, whatever, any potential rules violation. That's left to the tournament director, or at least it used to be until now. Now it's left to Facebook. But it's now anglers that are now flipping it, okay, for whatever reason. They're now after the event, post-event, coming on and instead of being proactive before the event. For example, if you read an event, Bassmaster next year, okay, Kayak Adventure Series next year, I think they're going to be on the Juniata though, not the Susquehanna. If you read the events and the dams are not off limits and you enter the event, you don't have anything to say afterward because you knew the dams were off limits. Now, you may have decided not to fish a dam because maybe you've got something. You have something like against dam fishing. Like you don't think dam fishing is ethical. We all have that. I won't fish during the spawn. I won't target bass on beds during the spawn. That's me. It's legal in tournaments, but I won't do it. That's an ethical decision I've made. But that's nothing to do with the tournament. So if somebody wins that tournament bed fishing, good for them. So if you don't like fishing dams because you don't think it's real fishing, like a lot of people are saying, that's fine. But if someone wins an event on a dam, which is within the legal boundaries of an event, you can't disparage them for doing it. It's legal. We all have to sit there and make our decisions in events based on the parameters of the rules and the boundaries and what the fish are doing to make our determinations, right? Okay? And so people piling on to this damn narrative, like I said before in a previous video, they totally dismiss the fact that the individual who won the event, who happened to also have been DQ'd from a prior event, didn't fish the dam. So how do you process that? Like, you assumed he fished the dam because he got DQ'd from fishing a dam the month before, but he wasn't even fishing the dam, like, at all, anywhere near a dam, like remotely near a dam. And he won the event. But it doesn't seem to matter to people because the narrative's already been formed. It's like if you get DQ'd from one event, suddenly now that carries with you forever. But it didn't carry forever with Drew Gregory. It hasn't carried forever with Gene Jensen. It only seems to carry forever for select people that people want to make it carry forever for. And usually that has something to do with a personal relationship or people they fish against. I don't fish against Drew Gregory. I don't fish against Gene Jensen, so it doesn't really matter to me, right? But maybe if these people fished against Drew Gregory and fished against Gene Jensen and fished against these people that have been DQ'd from events, maybe they would carry on Facebook the same way they have with these Pennsylvania anglers. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. But regulations and restrictions are the responsibility of the tournament director, okay? And organizing the tournament and taking a step back and looking at the watershed and picking and choosing access levels, picking points and levels, ramps, okay? And then whether or not there's anything that's out of bounds, okay? And so those have to be considerations for how you're going to manage an event. And if a tournament director doesn't remove dams or allows them to stay within the boundaries and not be off limits, how are you after the event going to criticize someone for fishing a dam? Just because you don't like to fish dams, or maybe you can't fish dams, or because they won? It doesn't seem to be like effectual. Like, you know, it seems to me like the people who don't want there to be dam fishing should be more proactive before an event than they are after event. But it seems like after the event, they're a lot more proactive about it. Dams are a great place to fish during certain times of the year. They just are. And it is predicated on the conditions of the river. And if you're in an event, I've always believed that a lot of the stuff that goes into events, if you're a tournament angler, because of the professionals that I've talked to, a lot of it goes into the planning before you actually start fishing. So if you have educated yourself enough to know what the fish behaviors are going to be during different times of the year, and you know smallmouth, and you know their behavioral patterns in late summer and low level conditions, low water conditions usually mean concentrated low levels of oxygen, and therefore they move to moving water for not only oxygen but also security, then you know to go towards dam areas or bridges, pilings, or things where they're going. You know that if you're a smallie chaser, like you know these things, and part of that is fishing. Like, you know, we're not all just people who drive 12 hours and show up at a river and don't have any clue about the river system. If you're local, you have knowledge, you know. And so do we want to take that away from local anglers when we have these national events? That's up to the tournament director. That's up to the rules committee. And anglers need to be vocal with the rules committee and be like, this is what we would like to see. Okay? But I don't think that that's happening. Like, I think that it's all just on Facebook. And so, you know, whether or not we want to see dam fishing and concentrated fishing pressure, I can tell you right now within 150 miles of where I'm sitting right now, there are people right now fishing at dams. It's one of the most pressured areas on a river system this time of year. Okay? Smallmouth, largemouth, and probably maybe your part of the country. Smallmouth are looking to feed up. There's going to be a lot of bait fish concentrated in dam areas. Okay? Smallmouth are moving to dams right now to chew up and feed during the fall for the wintertime. Okay? Metabolism, metabolic rates, all that stuff. You should join my newsletter. Check out my newsletter. It's a lot of biology. More biology than op-ed commentary. There's no op-ed commentary on my newsletter, guys. Okay? Somebody asked that in a TikTok live. It's like, nope. I was like, it's all smallmouth-centric biology, fishing, baits, tactics, strategies, river systems, watersheds. It's not the op-ed that you get here on YouTube and TikTok, thankfully. And so just remember that. Like, you know, like, guys put in the work on these river systems and lakes and reservoirs, in fairness to those guys. And they get patterns set, and they learn these patterns. Dam fishing is one of them. Doesn't mean you fish a dam every day, every year, every time of the year. You don't, okay? That's a balancing act. So maybe a tournament in the spring, you know, on the Susquehanna or the Upper Potomac, Susquehanna, places like that, Conowingo and Maryland on the Susquehanna, maybe they allow dam fishing in the spring, but they don't in the fall, okay? There are different decisions that we can come to a compromise on dam fishing from a management practices standpoint for events that can balance things out, right? You know, I personally believe it shocked a lot of people to see that a guy could put up 102 inches at a dam, you know, in August. And a part of that is the shock of it all. Oh, well, you know, he was cheating. Like, no, you can go to a dam. My buddy freaking went to the dam 2 days ago and dropped 96 inches at the dam on the Upper Potomac. Okay? Come on. Like, you can this time of year. It's not uncommon. We just don't have events, guys. I mean, that's the reality of it. Is come September, most events go away. Like one year, I think, was it last year? I think it was last year. I think Bassmaster had their Susquehanna event in October. That's rare. Like there's not really many events. Go look on Tourney X, Fishing Chaos, iAngler. There's not many events this late in the year. Most people are done. They might have their championship at a lake or a reservoir, and that's it. But most of the events are done in September. So most people aren't knowledgeable because they only follow events and tournaments. And down in Texas this weekend, right? And, you know, they don't hear about dam fishing. They don't, when there's, like I said, nine guys loaded up on dam 4. Catching fish, catching walleye, catching smallmouth, catching catfish. Like, I mean, it's commonplace. It's common practice. That's the norm. And so, do you really want to have an event by taking that away? Because then the local anglers aren't going to fish your event if you're a national trail. The tournament-centric guys will. Okay? They're going all over the country. They're going to travel all over the country. They're going to fish the event. So, from a tournament director's perspective, it's a very, very hard question to answer. Like, what do you do? Like, if I take the dams away, make these creeks and dams and tribs off limits, the locals aren't going to enter it. We can't help grow the sport. If I leave them all open, then I'm going to get pushback from the established anglers because they're going to think that the local anglers have too much of an advantage. Well, most local anglers don't win events. Okay? To be fair, that was another thing that kind of came up in the last 2 months is local anglers finished in the money. Probably more so, than seemingly other events traditionally. Like I think a local won the Kayak Adventure Series event. The 2 anglers that were DQ'd that were winning day 1, okay, that allegedly fished too close to a dam or whatever, they were local. I think the people who won in the top spots in the Susquehanna Fishing Tackle River Classic, they were local. Okay, so that also creates a little bit of like, oh, the local. Like, you always are going to have that with a tournament director. Okay? You got, especially on the national level, how do you balance that? Okay? Your traveling core guys versus the locals when you look at the watershed and you decide whether or not to put dams in bounds. It is a balancing interest. It is a balancing act. Okay? For a tournament director. And you got to feel bad for. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a tough call to make. I don't know what call Steve Owens will make for Bassmaster 2026 on the Susquehanna River. I would not be surprised if he limits to you can't fish within 1,000 yards or something, some kind of limitation on a dam. That wouldn't surprise me. Whether or not I feel like it's warranted or not is irrelevant. Okay? Because I'm not the tournament director. In that case, I'm not making that call. He's making that call. I hope he will make that call and get out in front of this before next year if this continues on. You realize there's less events going on right now. Everything is happening right now on Facebook, okay, and social media. That's where the game is right now. The game's not on the water, okay? It's on social media. And this is going to continue to get out of hand. And so, like I said before, reputable organizations need to address it. And be like, look, this is the way it is, guys. Dams are inbounds. As long as you abide by state laws, state and local laws, dams are inbounds. Okay? And if you choose not to fish an event because the dam is inbounds, that's your decision. You have to make that decision. Okay? Or the other way. Okay, we're gonna limit dams for this event. And if you choose not to fish the event because dams are off limits, that's your decision to make. We'd love to have you, but you got to make your own decision. But it based on things that have happened, and either way, that's a decision the tournament director makes. Okay, not the anglers. The anglers can choose to fish wherever they want to fish within boundaries, within the bounds specified by the event. Okay, but other than that, no. Unless there is an angler committee or an angler that an organization has where anglers can give feedback like at the professional level, like they have a Bassmaster, whatever the management practices are going to be for an event are going to be up to the tournament director or the rules committee. And as it stands now, we've already had people win checks knowingly. Okay, what I mean by that is Judges and tournament directors know where the anglers that have won checks for Bassmaster and Hobie and Team Kayak Series and Kayak Adventure Series and Smalley Chaser River Bassin and Native Watercraft, when they do their events, all these, the tournament directors know where the fish were caught. Okay? And they haven't adjusted their rules the next year. So that tells you that up until today, there hasn't been a problem. Like, they haven't deemed that the problem or the negativity has risen to the level where they need to address it yet. Okay? I think we're there. Just to quiet all of this. Either way, to end it. Like, no, dams are in bounds. They are a vital area for tournaments, for anglers to go and catch fish, test themselves, catch big fish, whatever it is, that contribute to the tournament, which also contributes to the locality that's hosting the tournament, because they get light shined on them as a destination for anglers all over the country to come and chase smallmouth. Okay? There's a lot more that goes into these things than the average person on Facebook thinks. Okay? And so you have to do that balancing act. And so whether or not you believe dam fishing, people should be able to fish at a dam. It's not poaching. Okay? Okay, it's not a cheater box like people are saying, like forward-facing sonar. You know, fishing at a dam is cheating. It's absurd. Like, but people have that opinion. Because either they've never fished at a dam, or they've never won an event, or they've never gotten a check cut. And so, these are competitive events. Okay? And anglers, like I started this off by saying, anglers will always live in the gray. Always. And we always reward those anglers that live in the gray that succeed. We do it at the pro level. We do it all the time. We reward the people that push the envelope. Drew Gregory is a prime example in kayak fishing of an angler who has been DQ'd, has had rules made. Kayak bass fishing actually has a rule that is like known in circles to be the Drew Gregory rule. Okay? Like, that's a thing. A real thing. Okay? Okay, so we understand people that push and live in the gray are either rewarded and elevated when they've won events before because they've got name brand recognition behind them. But when a new guy or someone new or a local pushes the gray, it's a totally different story. And we all need to look at ourselves with that. We need to hold everyone to the same standard. Okay? It doesn't bother me if someone fishes a dam in one of my events and wins. It doesn't bother me at all. Because everybody in that event had the opportunity and the option to find fish at that dam, and they chose not to. That's a skill set. That's a study set. That's an understanding smallmouth behavior set. Okay, like that goes to being a full angler. Okay, everything, all of it, on the water, off the water, Google Earth, whatever. Okay, all that stuff goes to being able to help you put yourself on fish. Okay, and until there are rules that prevent that, I just don't understand why so many people have such a problem with it. But we see the same things with forward-facing sonar, guys. No matter what a tournament does, bans it, keeps it. People aren't going to be happy because generally speaking, people aren't really happy right now. Okay? I mean, that's my conclusion, is generally speaking, people aren't really happy. And you can see that on Facebook. So you let me know in the comments, dam fishing. Should anglers be allowed in tournaments to fish at dams or near dams? If not, how far below a dam are you allowed to fish? Will boat ramps adjacent to dams, which often is the case down here, be off limits as well? If a dam is off limits, will that ramp as well be off limits for launching? So there's a number of questions that the community should really grapple with in a real mature way, like not on a Facebook way, okay, but in a mature way, especially when you have to understand where this is all coming from. The gotcha stuff, in my opinion, needs to stop. The gotcha, where people are on the rivers trying to get people disqualified. Okay? Like, we don't live that way, club-wise in that regard. It's like if you see someone without a PFD, don't send us pictures of someone without a PFD unless you have said something to them. Hey, you forgot to put your PFD on. Oh, man, all right. And they put their PFD on and they go, that kind of stuff. Don't do this gotcha moment with your camera, okay? Because you think if you post it on social media, you're going to get a lot of clicks. That's about you. See where I'm going, folks? A lot of this stuff on social media is not about the dam. It's not about the tournament. It's not about the tournament directors. It's about people trying to get clicks and views, and they're taking video footage or camera footage of people and then not doing anything with it a lot of times. Wait until after the event. Oh, that's the guy I took the picture of. He finished in second place. Let me just blast it out on social media. Like, okay, so I can get clicks and I can get whatever. That's a selfish way to approach fishing. I don't consider those people to be anglers. I consider those to be Facebook trolls, okay, that happen to fish. They're not real anglers. Real anglers, like passionate anglers, tournament anglers, professional-ish, okay, mindset anglers, don't behave that way. Like, they don't do that stuff, okay? They don't. In terms of social media. But that's where we're at with dam fishing, man. Should dam fishing be? Okay? Should it be left to recreational anglers, not tournament anglers, in different times of the year? Same things go with boats. Boats run up the dams as well on the Susquehanna and on the Upper Potomac and the James River, places like that. It's not just a kayak bass fishing thing. It's also a boating thing. Should they be allowed to fish? And will it be limited based on safety standards, maybe, or any of those things? But guys have to make that on this. Tournament directors have to make that determination based on feedback from their anglers or their club. Like, what do you want to see? Do you want us to eliminate dams altogether? Is that what you want? Like, it's all about the community. It's all about what's going to make a unified event to where people can make their best decisions. Okay. And why, and come with real reasons why. It can't be because people keep winning at the dam. That's like saying that we've got to ban this ledge in the river because people keep down in Georgia because people keep winning events on the ledge, right? Like, you can't. That it's a physical barrier, right? So that's not a good enough reason to remove something, right? Is because people keep winning fishing there. Okay, it has to be something else. Okay, and so guys need to come up with that. Guys need to freaking figure that out in a rational, adult, mature way, professional way, in terms of contacting their tournament directors and making that pitch. Because again, guys, anglers have won big checks off of dams in the Susquehanna River in all these event trails. All of them. None of them are immune. Even some of the local events. Okay, guys have done it. In these monthlies, guys have done it. I've seen fish. I've had fish submitted to me on Tourney X from the Susquehanna from various dams. Harrisburg, Sunbury, all these dams. Okay? So, again, people fish dams. So, there needs to be a consensus on going forward whether or not dams are going to be limited or not. All right? So that's where we're at. I mean, until we can address the elephant in the room and address the real reasons. For me, I don't believe the reasons for all of this blowback and pushback and vitriol on social media has anything to do with the dam. So I would not take the dams off limits in my tournaments. Okay? Like, I'm not. Because you've got to make an argument based on the dam. Not based on the anglers that have fished at a dam because you have something against them. And you want to take that away from them because you think they can only fish at the dam, when we all know that's not true. I personally know that's not true as a tournament director. When I see things, I'm not chiming in. It's not my I'm not. But when people start accusing people of only being able to catch fish at dams, and then those individuals are actually participating in nationwide events that I sponsor or nationwide events that I'm judging or scoring from around the country in monthlies, in Smallie Wars, in Chase, Summer Chase, Fall Brawl that starts on Saturday coming up. I see where the guy's fishing, and I'm like, that guy doesn't always fish at the dam. What are these people talking about? He may have chosen to fish at a dam one spot, like one because of conditions, but 80-90% of the rest of his fish he submitted don't even come from a dam. So again, people make a lot of assumptions based on social media stuff and based on other people that don't really have the facts. So keep it real, keep it defined. Let's have a rational discussion concerning dams. Should dams be in bounds? Should they be out of bounds? Should they be off limits? Okay? And make rational arguments as to why that is or is not the case. Pros and cons. Okay? It is obvious to everybody that it's a complex issue, okay? And it's going to have a lot of for and a lot of against, just like forward-facing sonar. I mean, okay? Just like any other issue, okay? And so you've got to take all that in and then make a decision. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend coming up. The weather's turned. We got lots of rain up here. All the way from Virginia to Pennsylvania got rain the last couple days. Not supposed to have any rain this weekend. This weekend could be absolute fire. If you're fishing the Fall Brawl on Tourney X, SCRB, Fall Brawl Chase on Tourney X, I think Saturday it's going to go off. It's going to kick off with a bang. Because, like I said, this week we are seeing some big limits this week during the rain. Now after the rain, and I'm sure that we're going to see some big. I'm going to get some big fish submitted today because the weather is absolutely beautiful and phenomenal here, and I hope that it is where you live because fall is a wonderful time to go fishing. And if you choose to fish at a dam, just be safe. That's all I can tell you. Follow the laws, follow the regulations, be safe, have a PFD life jacket, okay? Just use some common sense, okay? I know the water levels are still down, but still, don't be too confident and overconfident if you're near a dam. Take the necessary precautions you need to take. Know your rules, know your regulations. Don't expose yourself to any unnecessary safety issues or even potential legal issues, okay? Get out there and catch yourself your biggest limit of the year. All right, guys.